Hi everyone, Alexandra Jowett, Jupiter Returns here with your weekly astrology forecast for the week of February the 3rd to the 9th. And we start the week, there's a lot going on this week, we start the week with Mercury already in shadow. This is a really important time to focus in on here. The retrograde of Mercury is something that most people are familiar with, but the retrograde process itself is broken down into three distinct sections, if you like. And this shadow period is the foretelling, if you like, of what will happen when Mercury goes into retrograde and then recovers this part of our chart. So be ahead of the curve, if you like that kind of thing, and tap into the energy of Mercury now. Essentially what's happening, Mercury has been transiting the sign of Aquarius recently and is now moving into, as of today, the sign of Pisces. Now, Mercury is a lover of clarity, of precision, of order. As the ruler of Pisces' opposite sign, Virgo, it likes a sense of control and a sense of clarity around things. Being in the opposite sign then means that Mercury isn't particularly comfortable here. In the sign of Pisces, Mercury essentially is in detriment. It's just not a house that Mercury can give as its best. So be aware that as confusing and changeable as a Mercury retrograde can be, the fact that it's taking place in the sign of Pisces is going to give even more potential for confusion and not really understanding things. So let me talk you through the dates that are involved. So as of February the 2nd, Mercury is in shadow and will continue to be in shadow all the way up to 12 degrees of Pisces, and that's going to take until February the 17th. So between now and the 17th, this is a time to just pay a little bit more attention, which is a Mercury energy, to what's showing up in your life. If you know where these degrees are in your chart, that's even more helpful if you know what planets are involved, or angles, or even just what house this is taking place in. But otherwise, it's okay, it doesn't matter. You can still take note of what's going on, what's showing up in your life around this time. And then as of the 17th, Mercury then goes retrograde. So we'll have moved up to kind of the middle part of Pisces, slows right down. So around that date is when we'll be really getting some strong Mercury retrograde vibes as it prepares to change direction. That's not technically what's happening, but essentially the way that we align with the energy feels like that. And then in the chart, Mercury then moves all the way back through Pisces and right back to the 28th degree of Aquarius, where actually Mercury is a little bit more comfortable. Actually a lot more comfortable in Aquarius. So there may come a point of some real breakthrough clarity when we're coming to the end of the retrograde period. So around March the 10th, that's when Mercury is then going to be direct and moving forward and giving us that third pass of that area of the chart, putting things right. So essentially, Mercury retrograde periods are when we need to have a rethink about something, or redo something, or just check things, do things in a different way. Something that we may have previously thought is complete and a finished project may require just going back over, kind of, check your answers before you submit your paper, that kind of energy. And it's well known to cause issues, difficulties, potential changes with travel disruption. In Pisces, that potentially could be at sea. My parents boarded a cruise ship today, and they're going to be cruising around Africa during the Mercury retrograde. So I have forewarned them that that's coming up. They're actually on board a ship called Nautica. So it seemed pertinent to give them a little heads up. Yeah, so travel disruptions or delays, changes of plans with regards to travel, and miscommunication or things being misinterpreted. Not the best time to be setting anything in stone with regards to contracts and that kind of thing, because it can be something that needs to be amended or changed. So see what's opening up in your life, where the Mercury retrograde energy is pulling you, and this may be something that needs a little bit more attention as we move into right into the retrograde phase. So we also have today the moon. We've had this lovely period of the moon in Taurus over the weekend. Some really lovely energy to capture there as she trined the planets Saturn and Pluto over there in Capricorn. But now she's moved into the sign of Gemini. So this is kind of waking up our minds and our busyness. It's sort of a stimulating energy that likes to, it likes information, it likes to learn something new, and it likes lots of conversation, and it likes lots of variety. So you may be feeling a little bit more of a sense of being awake and alert, and like more of a desire in terms of stimulation, you know, getting out of a boringness, which there'll be more of as we move through the week. So as we move on to Tuesday then, this is actually what I love lately, and the connection through social media is wonderful. I see lots and lots of people really connecting with the pagan wheel of the year and celebrating some of the ceremonies. And I've seen lots and lots of people conducting ceremonies and having celebrations this weekend for Imbolc. So what I wanted to just say at this point is the true, what's happening down here on the planet with regards to nature is essentially driven by what's happening up there in the cosmos. And we can forget this part up here of the natural cycle of things, okay? But that's essentially the big driver of what gives us our seasons and the changes that we go through as the wheel of the year passes by. So it's best, I find, to really tap in and connect the two together. And astrologically, Imbolc isn't until Tuesday. So it's actually on Tuesday, Mars's day. The sun in the center of Aquarius there is the actual specific point of Imbolc. If you're interested in this, watch this space, because I'm actually going to be delivering a workshop locally, aligning the two systems together so that it can really deepen your connection to working with the Wheel of the Year. And I will be, for those people who aren't local to me, I will be recording something to put out there that you'll be able to purchase so that you can do that as well. So no one will get left out, but watch out for that, that's coming really soon. So as we have Moon in a fellow air sign, Gemini, we have the sun there in Aquarius. As Gemini moves through and reaches the same point, we have this lovely trine, okay? This trine aspect between the moon and the sun on Tuesday around 3 p.m. in the afternoon here in the UK. So this gives us a real sense of just an easy flow of energy. We have the masculine and the feminine, the active and the passive, the receptive energy of the moon and the drive of the sun. So when these two are in the most harmonious aspects to each other, then we feel like everything is just happening in flow. We can have some really lovely conversations, people who are writing, and essentially just with moon and sun, it's just a nice harmonious balance between our work life and what we're doing out there in the world and our home life and our connection with our family. Everything just kind of flows nicely and peacefully. So tap into that energy as well. And I love that that's happening right at the point of Imbolc as well. That just gives it an extra airy sense. And with me, I have a Gemini moon, so it'll also be my lunar return as well. So, and for anyone else with planets in any of the air signs, in fact, including Libra, you'll be able to tap into this energy really nicely. So enjoy that lovely sense of flow. So then overnight, as we move into Wednesday the 5th, we have Mercury will then have moved up to the 2nd degree of Pisces. And this is going to mean that Mercury is going to connect with Uranus, okay? Uranus is over there still hanging out at the early stages of Taurus. Uranus is one of the ruling planets of Aquarius, so kind of giving us a little bit of a reminder of that energy. But essentially with this kind of connection, we could tap into understanding things in a really radically different way than we have in the past, or wanting to approach things in a different way than we have in the past. The connection of water energy, which is Pisces, and Taurus energy, which is Earth, actually gives us a real pliability. If you imagine just blending those elements together, we have clay, and that's something that we can mold and shape. So this is giving us the ability to change things and create something entirely new, something completely revolutionary in a sense. So we could have some really wonderful ideas with this energy, with Mercury and Uranus connecting, that we can then create something really, really wonderful from, or creating a change to something that there already is in existence by just applying this bit of water into the situation. So Uranus will bring this kind of spark of liveliness to our thinking patterns and perhaps to our communication as well. It's really around kind of flashes of insight, flashes of kind of divine inspiration, if you like, can find us at this time quite easily. We may also have some quite surprising news or messages, or something quite exciting in nature, something that was like kind of, wow, I didn't see that coming. That kind of thing can happen under this energy as well. But there's a real brilliance. So I think that's going to help with some of the murkiness that we could have with Mercury moving through Pisces, and allow us just to have a kind of a tap into some real brilliance. There's a confusion aspect with Mercury in Pisces, but that confusion actually in a way facilitates us to move into a different state of consciousness. You know, that's what Pisces rules. Pisces rules meditation and drugs and alcohol and all these practices that can shift our state of consciousness into a different place and look at things through a different lens. So if we can sort of go with the flow of that process a little bit, then at this time with Uranus there to help, we might find something down there in the depths of the water that we wouldn't have seen otherwise. So for creative types, creative writers, poets, all that kind of thing, this could be some really wonderful energy to tap into. Yeah, so then on to Thursday the 6th and Friday the 7th, so towards the end of the week, we have the moon then moving into Cancer, into her home sign of Cancer. So things are starting to take on perhaps more of an emotional quality to them. Our sensitivities can be a little bit more heightened at this time. And we can often act more from our emotions and our emotional self at this time as well. She's still waxing. She's in the waxing half of her journey, as she's separating further and further from the sun as we move around the chart. And so in sign of Cancer, what we know is that she's coming into the oppositions with all of these energies that we still have up there in the sign of Capricorn. So this could lend a different kind of flavor to things. First of all, she will oppose the sign of Jupiter up there in Capricorn. And then in turn, Pluto and Saturn as we move through the weekend. So, sorry, not the weekend, but Thursday and Friday, the end of the week. So that's really going to dominate things. It's going to be pulling us back into that energy that we had with the Saturn-Pluto conjunction on the 12th of January. So just look out for that again, cropping up. And then also on that day, on Friday, in the evening, we'll have Venus finishing her journey through Pisces, where she's so happy. She gives us her best, most unconditional love in Pisces. That journey comes to an end, and she's actually going to move into the sign of Aries here. Now, this is a very, very different, it's a marked contrast of energies. Essentially, Pisces is the 12th sign of the zodiac, so it's kind of the end of the zodiac wheel, and Aries is where we start again. So it's moving out of the place with least ego that offers up this very kind and compassionate type of love, and moving into Aries, where essentially Aries is primarily about the self. So this is coming back to me and what I want. And this is important for everyone to have in their chart. You know, I think often ego is given a bad rap. As I've mentioned with other planets, for example, Mars, it really all depends on your starting point. So where are you on the spectrum of ego? You know, could you perhaps do with a little bit more of a boost in that area, or have you got plenty and perhaps things need to be brought back into check? So this is a Mars sign, a Mars-ruled sign. Venus isn't really comfortable in that energy. I kind of talk to clients about this energy. It's like Venus walking into a mechanic's garage. You know, it's like a woman walking in there with her pretty car, you know, flowers on the dashboard and everything, and she drives into this place and it's just, you know, men, and they've maybe got this, you know, those calendars on the wall, and they kind of, there's all the banter going on and the whistling and all of that kind of thing. She's not super comfortable in this man's domain, in this very masculine sign. So it's quite a dramatic change and quite a dramatic shift of energies that she's going to be taking on. So make the most of her journey through Pisces as we move towards the end of the week, because she will then be in the sign of Aries. Okay, so on Saturday, we have the moon completing the journey in Cancer. So finishing off those tense oppositions, and she's going to move into the sign of Leo. And of course, what she's doing at this point, with Leo being the opposite sign to Aquarius, she's actually going to be moving into her completion of the first half of the lunar cycle. So she's going to become full on Sunday the 9th. We have the Leo full moon. Sunday is the day ruled by the sun, and the sun is the ruler of Leo. So it's nice that it's happening on a Sunday. So 6 a.m. at 19 degrees, if you know where 19 degrees is in your chart, what house that occupies, if there's any other planets involved, that's great. Otherwise, essentially, what we're looking at here is Leo is the energy of fun. Sunday is fun day. There was a song back in the 80s with that in there. And it's true, you know, Sunday's our day of rest and play and fun. So whatever's going on with your chart, or whether you're not familiar with your chart, this really is a time when things come to a maturation, come to a culmination point with regards to some aspect of fun. And it may be that this is a good time for us to ask ourselves, what's our relationship to fun and to play? Have we created space in our lives in order to embrace this? You know, we are all made up of all 12 signs, so each one has an equal place in our life, and they're all needed and they're all important. So just because we're grown-ups doesn't mean that we shouldn't have this form of expressing ourselves to the world, to standing on the stage and allowing our light to shine and find its audience. That's what Leo energy is all about. So are you doing that at this point in time? Could you do a little bit more of that? Are you hiding your light underneath something? Is it a little bit in shadow? And what do you need to do perhaps to take it a little bit less seriously? You know, just have fun and play and just be vulnerable. You know, it's very heart-centered energy is Leo. It's really about purity and innocence. And when you watch children play, they really aren't self-conscious at all. They're just coming from this inner place of expression. And there's so much wonderful creativity within that that can really pull us into the flow state, which is really soothing and healing for all of our bodies. So play really is important. And we can kind of learn a lot from the way that children are able to just do whatever they like without really caring, essentially, how it looks to anyone. That innocence, that purity is really, really wonderful. So it really reminds me of the verse that says, dance like no one is watching. That's what Leo energy is all about. It's just like, hey, let's not take ourselves so seriously. Let's just have fun. Let's play. So on Sunday, if you can get out there and have some fun with your children, with your family, with other people's, you know, obviously with their permission, but tapping into the inner child within and just reconnecting with him or her and saying, oh, do you know, you've been told to be sensible and serious and hardworking for long enough now. Let's make some time, or let's perhaps decide that every Sunday we're going to do something fun and tap into that wonderful creative flow energy. So that's all I have for you this time. It's a very busy week with lots of chops and changes and lots of things going on. I hope you have a wonderful week and a very beautiful and fun full moon on Sunday, and I will see you again next time. Thank you.